Hello Facebook! We are doing another meal prep live today. You're going to notice something a little different. So let me explain. Today I like to consider it what I call a Plan B day. Drop in the comments below if you guys know what I mean by let me explain to you what I mean by Plan B day. Everything that was supposed to happen this morning didn't, and so instead of saying we're not going to do it, we're just going to go with Plan B. So originally we were supposed to have a good friend of mine, Shannon, prep with us today. She was going to be our guest prepper, I guess that would be a good way to describe it, but she was going to be on today to answer questions about CBD oil. Sadly, she is feeling like she has the flu, so she is stuck at home. So Shannon, if you are watching this from home, I hope you are resting in bed. But she was going to be on to talk about CBD oil because I get a lot of questions about that, and quite honestly, I'm really not an expert in that field, so I wanted to bring somebody on who is an expert, and we were going to spend some time before meal prepping today to answer everybody's questions, because again, I get lots of questions about CBD oil. I consider Shannon a guru when it comes to CBD oil. She's been kind of educating herself on CBD oil now for over 20 years. So I know it's kind of a hot item right now, and that's great. I love to see that is coming about, but I always like to learn from people who've been doing it for a long time. So anyway, so Shannon, we wish you were here, but I hope you're resting at home, and I promise everybody that I will have Shannon on in the near future to prep with me and to answer all of your questions about CBD oil. So anyway, so then Jen was going to actually come on this side of the camera today, and she was going to join me, and which I was super excited about because I've been trying to get her on this side of the camera. So she was going to do it, and then at the absolute last minute, she had something come up that requires a emergency dental appointment. So Jen, if you're watching this from the dentist office, I hope that you're not waiting too long to get in to see the dentist. So anyways, so I am here by myself today. So I promise that I will try to keep this as lively as possible. It'll probably be a little boring than usual. But if you're just hopping on, drop down in the comments below. Let us know where you are tuning in from. Last week we actually had somebody from Australia watching, so that was pretty cool. So let us know where you are from. We would love to know. Usually, for those of you that have been on these meal prep lives with us before, you know that Jen kind of hangs out behind the scenes. Couldn't do these without her, honestly. But she helps to keep an eye on the comments because I want to answer all the questions that you guys have. So since she is not here today, I have to meal prep, and I'm also going to try to keep up with your comments here on my laptop. So bear with me. I'm probably not going to be able to answer all of them as they're coming in, but I will continually check to check your comments, and I'll answer them. So if I don't get to your comment while we're doing the live, I promise to sit and go through all of your questions and answer them afterwards, after the live is over. So be sure to check that. So the other thing that's been a little issue for us today has been our Wi-Fi. So that might be a little problem. If we have any issues, I apologize. And of course, if we get bumped off, we will come right back on as soon as we can. So let me just get my laptop set up so that I'm able to hop on there and see your questions. Okay. And like I said, if you guys just hop on, let us know, give me a thumbs up. Hey Carrie, I see you on there. Thank you so much. Give a thumbs up or let me know that you're here watching. So I want to clarify something. We've been doing these meal prep lives now for the last couple of weeks, and sorry guys, my Wi-Fi is not working on my laptop. So I'll keep trying to get on there to answer, to see if I see any questions. Okay, so one of the questions I get is, okay, meal prep. So we are meal prepping, but actually what these are, there's different ways to meal prep, right? There's batch cooking where you cook things in bulk. There's things where you actually cook the items first and then you freeze them. That's not what we do with our meal prep, okay? So, and this is all of our workshops. So if you've ever been to one of my workshops, you know, or if you go to any of our coaches' workshops, what these are basically are freezer meals. That's what they are. So basically we're doing all of the hard work now. We're doing all the chopping and dicing and slicing, and we're making freezer meals. We're not cooking them right now. And then those freezer meals go into the freezer, and you can pull them out in the future at any time that you want. So a couple of days from now, a couple of weeks from now. They're good up to 6 months. And it's great because on those really busy nights when you don't have time to get all of these ingredients out, and I know the way the camera is set up, you can only see about half of the ingredients for the 3 meals we're going to do today. You just don't have time. We're busy, right? You're getting in from work, maybe you know trying to get back out the door for one of your kids' activities. And you're tired. Like, who wants to do all this work in the evening? So we recommend setting aside a time during the week, whatever works for your schedule. Sundays are usually a good day for me, for my schedule. And we meal prep, and we make all of these freezer meals. So that's really what we're doing, and that's what our course teaches you, our monthly membership teaches you. If you come in person and you do a meal prep workshop, whether it's mine or one of our coaches, that's what we teach you to do. All of the meals are plant-based. That means there's no animal protein in them, but you absolutely do not have to eat 100% plant-based to enjoy these meals. They are all very flexible, and I always give tips and suggestions for adding meat if that's what you want to do. We're just trying to really teach you how to get more plants in your diet. No matter what dietary philosophy that you follow, I think we can all agree we're not eating enough plants, and that's really what we just try to teach you, is how to eat more plants. So let's get started. Our meals too, just to let those of you know, I've had some questions, some folks that are interested but have some food allergies. We are allergen friendly, so all of our meals hit all of the top allergens. So there's no gluten, there's no dairy, there's no shellfish, obviously, soy, very little, and I always give suggestions to swap out if you can't do soy. So we hit all of the top allergens with our meals, so no need to worry about that, and I'm available to always answer any questions, and that's what we have a private Facebook group for, so that I'm in there all the time giving tips and suggestions on how to make the meal for your own family. And then, of course, I know we have a bunch of ladies here that are going to be following along from our membership. So ladies, if you, I know that you wanted to prep along with me, and so just to let you know, this is bundle number 3 that we're doing. Okay, so the first one, well, actually, let me just tell you the 3 that we're going to make today. The 3 recipes we're going to make are black bean and pumpkin chili mac, cheesy Mexican quinoa, and maple bourbon chili. That is so good, the maple bourbon chili. All of these recipes are good for your stovetop, they're good for slow cooker and Instant Pot, and we actually give you all those directions on each of the recipe cards, so that depending on how you want to prepare it at home. And guys, I can see on my phone we got a bunch of people typing. Sadly, I can't see it. I do apologize because my Wi-Fi keeps kicking me out on my computer. So again, if you have any questions, just put them down down below, and I'll answer them afterwards if I can't get to them now because of the Wi-Fi. Also, one other thing before we get started. If you share this video, you will be eligible to win one of our cooler bags. So feel free to share this video onto your own Facebook page. We would appreciate it. And then, again, like I said, then your name will go in the drawing for the cooler bag, which also makes a great beach bag, by the way. It's lined, it's got mesh pockets, it's awesome. Okay, so some of the things you're going to need to prep your meals, you're going to need a nice sharp knife. Always, whenever you're working in the kitchen, you want a sharp knife. More accidents happen when you have a dull knife, so make sure you have a nice sharp knife. You want a cutting board, save your counters, so make sure you have a good cutting board. I use these in my workshops, but you can just simply use a bowl, and this is so that you can put your bag in it, and this way your hands free when you are prepping your meals. You're going to need some good Ziploc bags, heavy-duty Ziploc bags. Don't skimp on these guys. You really want to pay for the more expensive brand, the Ziploc brand, so that this way your meals don't get freezer burn, and also you don't have any holes in them, because sometimes these bags get a little heavy. You're going to need something to chop garlic with, because in my recipes there is always garlic. I don't know why you wouldn't add garlic to just about anything, so we love garlic. You're going to need a couple of measuring cups, measuring spoons, which I have over here as well. And I recommend that when you're doing bulk prepping like this, you get all of your ingredients out first, instead of going through the recipe step by step and then having to go all over your kitchen trying to find a particular ingredient. So make sure you have all of your ingredients laid out, which I do, and again, I know the way the camera's set up, you can only see about half of those ingredients. I always have what we call a dump bucket, and this is for scraps. You can make your own veggie broth with it. I can link below after the video's over to show you how easy that is to do. I have clients who come to our workshops and they actually take the scraps home because they have chickens that they want to feed these scraps to. Okay, so let's get started. The first one that we are going to make is the black bean and pumpkin chili. Get this all set up. again, guys, drop in the comments below. I'd love to hear where you are watching from. We had somebody last week who was watching from Australia, so that's a lot of fun. Okay, so this recipe, actually what we're gonna do first is onions. Save yourself the trouble, buy your onions already chopped. It makes it so much faster. Okay, so we have some onions. Look at the garlic. We always add tons of garlic to our recipes. My recipes might call for 2 cloves, usually 1 or 2 cloves, but I always double that because we love garlic. Okay, this handy tool I get lots of emails about. Guys, you can go on my website, and I'll link below. I have a shopping page on my website, and it lists a lot of the tools that I use when I meal prep, and this is one that I always get messages about after we're done with the live. So basically, honestly, I think what this is meant is like something for pastry. Hey, if somebody out there is a baker and you guys know what this is, I think it has something to do with baking. It's like a pastry scraper or something, but I use it for garlic. So you're gonna take your garlic clove, you're gonna leave the skin on, you're gonna take out all your frustration on that garlic, you're gonna peel it, put those scraps in your scrap bucket, and then this side of it is actually sharp, so you can use it as a knife. You can use the garlic skins in the peels. You can use those actually in a recipe. They're loaded with fiber. They're good for you, especially a recipe like this that's going to go into a crock pot that's like a chili. They'll soften up, so you can actually leave that on if you wanted. Okay, take out your frustration. Yeah, and I promise, guys, we will have Shannon on to talk about CBD and all of the health benefits of CBD. We'll have her on hopefully real soon. Make sure she's all better and over the flu before we have her come on. All right. This is going to go so fast. I'm telling you, meal prepping is a game changer when you start to do it. All right, next thing we have is a red bell pepper. You could really swap out any pepper in this recipe. I like to add a little bit of color, so that's why I'm doing the red, but feel free to use green. You can use orange, yellow. It's not really going to change the flavor. And oftentimes, depending on the time of year, the red pepper might be pretty expensive. Usually the green peppers are the cheapest. And as always, if you guys have been following along for any bit of time, you know that I always promote eating organic. Eat organic whenever you can, with as much as you can. It is really the only way that we are going to be able to avoid eating all the herbicides, the pesticides, the fungicides, all the stuff that they put on our vegetables and our fruits that we should not be eating. In fact, if you are not familiar with the Environmental Working Group website, I highly recommend you go check it out. They are an organization, and one thing that they do, lots of different things, but one thing that they do is every year they put out their list of the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. So what is that? Well, basically each year they test and put out what is the produce, what plants have the most pesticide residue on them. So that would be their Dirty Dozen. And then their Clean 15 is a list of the 15 top plants that have the least. They're not going to have none. Really, if you want to avoid as much as possible, organic is really the way to go. But it's a good list to take with you. In fact, on their website, you can download a copy of it and you can actually print it up. It's cute. It comes in a little square. You can put it in your purse or your wallet. And so if you can't or don't want to buy everything organic, then this is a good list to use so that you know the things that you can avoid. So that would be the things on the Dirty Dozen list. And then the Clean 15, those are the things that are probably a little safer to buy with, minimal pesticides and herbicides and that kind of thing. But again, organic is really the way to go. So if you can And I always recommend organic for the things that you eat all the time. So let's say you drink coffee every morning, make sure that that coffee is organic. Coffee is a heavily sprayed crop. Okay, so after the bell pepper, we're gonna add in some tomato paste. This over here. And I have a new system because it seems every single time I do these lives, I forget an ingredient. So when I'm done, I'm placing it over here. Okay, the next thing is the diced tomatoes. So I'm gonna pour in a can of diced tomatoes. And again, I recommend organic. So even our canned goods are organic. Okay, the next thing is pumpkin. I think this is gonna be our dinner for tonight. I can tell already. Guys, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I am happy to answer them for you. For those of you that don't know, our membership, our monthly membership program is open now, and it's only open until Sunday. And I will link to that down below after the video is over so that you guys can see. But it's where you can learn how to prep all your own meals, and we provide you with recipes every single month. So go check that out. Okay, so now we're adding in some black beans. And again, they're organic. And this is getting pretty full. Let's see if I can squeeze this in here. All right, we got it. Okay, so after the beans come the spices. And let's see, for this recipe, for the black bean and pumpkin chili, we have cumin, black pepper, chipotle chili powder, smoked paprika, which is probably one of my most favorite spices, and salt. So that's all in here. We've already separated it. I'm gonna dump that right into the bag because you can freeze your spices. A lot of people don't know that. And then lift this out. It's kind of stuck in there. Pretty cool. Get all of the air out, especially for meals like this. Watch, I'm gonna actually kind of mix everything up a little bit. But for meals like this where your bag is super full, it's gonna take up some room in your freezer, so just make sure you get the air out of there. Okay, I'm gonna zip that up. And again, guys, I can see you typing comments. I'm so sorry. I have lost internet connection again here on my laptop. So, but I promise at the end I'll go through, and if there's any questions, I'll try to answer them. So definitely post them below and let us know where you are tuning in from. Okay, guys, that's one meal. It's done, okay? So the other thing that, now look at that. I said it's done, and I forgot my nutritional yeast. So for those of you that are not familiar with nutritional yeast, let me open my bag and put this in. I knew I was gonna forget something. So nutritional yeast is very common in plant-based cooking because when you eat plant-based, you avoid dairy. Dairy is very inflammatory. I recommend pretty much everybody stay away from dairy. So that means no cheese, right? So this is a great product, nutritional yeast, because it gives things a cheesy flavor. So that is in, you'll find that in a lot of our recipes. And notice I just eyeballed it. It's not, you know, look, cooking is not an exact science. You just dump it in there. So, okay. And then there are some things for our recipes that don't get put in the freezer. So for instance, this recipe, which again is a one-pot dish, and I'm gonna put this in my Instant Pot, but it also requires a bag of pasta. So because this is not getting frozen, I keep this separate in what we call our pantry bag. So I'm gonna keep that in my pantry bag separate, and then this is gonna go into my freezer after the video is over. So, although I think I might just be dumping it right in the Instant Pot. And that's it, one meal done. I mean, it is fast, it is really fast. And if I wasn't recording with you guys, I would be doubling up on everything so that this way I would have meals for this week, and I also have meals probably for either next week or the week after. So I always recommend you do that. All right, on to the next recipe. The next one is a cheesy Mexican quinoa. This is a favorite also. Okay, let me get my bag. I have a client who makes this, I think this is on her weekly rotation now, and her family is not 100% plant-based, and she makes this in her crock pot. Again, this is a one-pot meal, and we provide all of the directions for you on the recipe card. So it would be stovetop directions, Instant Pot directions, and slow cooker. And so her family, because they don't need 100% plant-based, she likes to add chicken, just a chicken breast to this when she puts it in her slow cooker, and then it just kind of cooks with the meal. So again, real simple, real easy. Okay, so now we have some more garlic. And again, I'm always trying to give tips for people when they want to include meat with the meal. Another great tip for really any meal, if you are wanting to get more plants in your diet, is serve a salad and some fresh fruit with your dinners. It's just another great way to get more plants in your diet. If you guys haven't watched the previous lives, I recommend you go back and you can check those out. They're here on the Facebook page. We've had some great guests come on with us and meal prep. Okay, let's see. This time, this recipe is calling for green pepper. I'm gonna throw in some of those. And again, this recipe, really flexible. So if you can't do pepper, you could swap this out for zucchini even, which I sometimes do in the summertime when zucchini is in season. Or if you don't like green pepper, you could easily swap out another color pepper. The different colors have different nutrients in them, right? So the nutritional profile of a green pepper is going to be different than a red pepper, or different than an orange pepper or a yellow pepper. The color makes a difference. That's why you'll hear people say all the time to eat the rainbow. So you want to always be eating different colors. So change it up. If you find that you cook a lot with green pepper, change it up. Use a red pepper instead, because you're going to get a completely different nutritional profile from the different colors. Okay. I can already smell the spices. Spices are another great way to just increase the nutritional value of your meals. The spices alone, they're loaded with all these different phytonutrients. Sometimes you'll hear them referred to as phytochemicals, and they're so good for us. I have a whole chapter about that in our online course, about why eating the rainbow is so important. The course is part of our monthly membership, and it's a self-study course, so people can learn at their own pace. And there's also a learning library in there, and it has lots of how-to videos. We teach you how to do a whole bunch of different things in the kitchen. Okay, so cheesy Mexican quinoa. We need a can of black beans. Whoops, put that over here. And then it looks like 2 cups of vegetable broth. Be careful when you buy your vegetable broth, if you buy store-bought. I have seen lots of different brands that have added sugars, added oils, loaded with salt. You don't need that. You just want your vegetable broth to just be straight up vegetables. This is a brand, Trader Joe's actually is a really good brand. Pacific is another brand that I buy, but sometimes that can get a little pricey. We actually make our own, and that's why we have the bowl with the veggie scraps in it. So I'll link below to that the directions on how to make your own. Okay, now we're using quinoa. And yes, you can freeze your grains, so you can freeze quinoa in the meals. It goes right in the freezer. Again, something that a lot of people weren't aware of that you could do. Okay, and then nutritional yeast. It's another recipe that has nutritional yeast. Just gonna eyeball it, which I do with most of my ingredients. And then we have some black pepper and some cumin. This recipe, you could also easily add fresh cilantro, which I do often because we love cilantro. Not many foods we don't love. And you can do that, you can freeze it. So if you use fresh cilantro, which is optional, and it is listed as optional, you can absolutely put that in your freezer bag. Okay, and then we have salsa. a good jar of salsa. Again, be really careful. Salsa is one of those things, there are a ton of brands that have loads of sugar in them. You don't want your salsa to have sugar. Or oils, you don't need oils either. Should be straight up ingredients that you can recognize, that you know. And this is meal number 2 done. See how fast this is? This really takes no time at all. It usually takes a little longer at our workshops because of course everybody's there to socialize too. So they usually bring wine with them and they're talking and it's their night out just to visit with some friends and also get some meals done. So that's freezer meal number 2, completely done. And guys, I can still see, thank you so much. I love that you guys are posting comments and questions, and once my Wi-Fi comes back on my laptop, I will answer them for you. Let's see. Remember, today's what we call a Plan B day. So let's go with Plan B all day today. I can tell it's going to be one of those days. If you can relate, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Okay. The final recipe that we're going to make is maple bourbon chili. It's amazing. Makes the house smell so good. Now, if you don't want to use bourbon in your recipe, that's perfectly fine. I give you a substitution at the bottom. I list it, and it actually, the substitution is molasses. So don't be afraid when you see maple bourbon and you don't want to use the bourbon. That's okay. You don't have to. All right. So get some onion. In fact, this is especially true for our members who are prepping your meals right now along with me, just to let you know, if you're going to make this recipe in your, not your slow cooker, but your Instant Pot, you do not want to use the bourbon in while you're cooking it. That you'll want to add at the end. And the reason why, some people say it's not good to cook alcohol in a slow cooker or an Instant Pot, especially the Instant Pot, because all of the pressure builds up. So I have never tested that theory. I don't plan to. So when I make this, I usually add the bourbon at the end of the meal. Or you, like I said, you can totally leave it out. You can substitute molasses instead. That is perfectly fine. So guys, if you're just hopping on, feel free to let us know where you are from in the comment section. And if you share this video, if you're just hopping on and you didn't hear, and you want to share the video, where's my garlic press? We are giving away, oops, a cooler tote, and they make great beach bags. So we appreciate it if you share the video. If you have any questions about our membership, I'm happy to answer them, or any of our workshops. If you live local to Richmond, which is where we are, if you guys are tuning in, you don't know where we're from, we have several coaches in the area that do workshops. They took our online course to start their own business, and they're doing great. And if you can't make it to any of our workshops, just look on the website. You can see there's a tab at the top that says coaches, and check out their schedule. See if you can make one of their workshops. Garlic. What else do we have here? Then we have a sweet potato. Since it is organic, I don't bother peeling the sweet potato. Some muscle behind that. It's a big sweet potato. Get your kids to help you with this. Most kids love to be in the kitchen. It's important to teach them these life skills when they're young so that they can cook for themselves. And the plus to teaching your kids to cook when they're young is that when they become teenagers and preteens, they cook for you. So, which is great. As much as I love cooking and I love being in the kitchen, it is nice to have somebody else cook for you every once in a while. I have a bunch of clients who often have a hard time doing a lot of meal prep all at once like this because they have, let's say, weak wrists. So a little tip for you, when you are holding your knife, when you're cutting, you want to make sure that you are pinching the top of the blade like this and then holding the handle down here like this, okay? And the action should come more from your shoulder, especially if you have any wrist issues. That will really save your wrists. And it'll make it a lot easier to cut all of your vegetables. The weather here in Richmond is finally turning to spring. We are so happy. But our family still eats chilies and soups even in the summer. We still do, because they're so easy. They're so nutritious, and mostly because they're just easy. And I'm all about ease in the kitchen. All right. Okay, sweet potatoes are done. All right, after the sweet potatoes, then we have the tomato paste. Well, actually, I could just use this one. Feel free to post your questions in the comments section, guys. Okay, tomato paste is done. Then we have a can of diced tomatoes. Can of organic kidney beans. And this one's gonna be a full one too. So I'm gonna have to pull the bag out. All right, got the beans. All done there. Lots of cans. Okay, and then we have some maple syrup. It gives it a little bit of a sweet flavor, the chili. So, and again, this is the maple bourbon chili that we're making. And for those of you that are in the membership group, this would be bundle number 3. Okay, and you can omit, if you are watching your sugar intake, you don't have to use that. And again, you can use, okay, great. You know how molasses gets all stuck? Can't open it. Okay, so you know what that means? That's telling me skip the molasses and add bourbon. That's what that's telling me. So that's God's way of telling me skip the molasses. So yeah, so that's all stuck and it's not opening. But again, like I said, if you don't want to add bourbon to the recipe, you can by all means add molasses, and that is listed on the recipe. Oh, let's not forget the spices. Let's see. So for this one we have salt, black pepper, smoked paprika, cumin, and chipotle chili powder. It smells so good. And that's gonna go in there. Okay, I'm gonna give the molasses one more try, and if it doesn't work, it was meant to be that I just used bourbon. Yeah, that's not opening. Okay, bourbon it is. Okay. And just kind of mix everything up, just gonna massage everything. So if you've taken my workshops, you're really familiar with what I'm about to say, because I talk about it all of the time. So people ask, why do I promote a plant-strong diet? And I will tell you, back in 2012, they did a global burden of disease study, and it involved hundreds of different researchers, hundreds of different institutions in over 50 different countries. And what they were looking for was to find what is the biggest killer in all these countries that they were studying. And the biggest killer in the United States is our diet, and that is not surprising. But they went a step further, and specifically, they said that Americans are not eating enough fiber. So fiber you can only get from plant food. So Americans are not eating enough fiber. And they're quoted as saying that if Americans ate one more serving of fruits or vegetables, of plant food, of fiber, and a serving in the study was a cup. So it's not a whole lot, right? Like here's a cup, a measuring cup. So imagine that with vegetables. So if Americans ate one more serving of plants, of fiber, it would save 30,000 lives and $5 billion in medical costs per year. Like right there, that's the answer to our healthcare crisis. What's at the end of our forks? What we're eating. So if you're not already following a plant-heavy diet, I highly recommend that you do that. So yeah, so that's why I promote a plant-strong diet. So that's it, guys. That's 3 freezer meals. And I'm done in, let's see, how long did that take? Well, it took me about 20 minutes, not even. And that's because I'm talking as we're going along. So if I were doing this and not recording, it would be much faster. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. I am happy to answer them. I'm going to have to do it after I get off of here because I'm going to have to do it on my phone since I do not have Wi-Fi on my computer. So I apologize about that. So yeah, so questions. Don't forget we have our monthly membership that has opened up. We only open it up a couple times a year, guys. So if you want to join, you're going to have to do it now or at another time during the year when it reopens. And we, let's see, I think Sunday is the last day that you can enroll in it. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I will link below a link as well so that you can find more information on that. And we will be back, not next week, but the week after, and we're gonna be doing another meal prep with some new recipes. So we hope that you'll all join us, and I hope you guys all have a great day. And because this is really low-key, low-tech, I have to swing around and I have to go turn off the camera. So thanks again for joining us, guys.